I'm making a few little items to sell at the Upcycled Market that I'll be doing soon. Welcome to my crafting channel. I'm Alana from Upcycling NZ. For project number 1, I found these little magnetic letters. They're wooden and I got them from the gala for $2. It occurred to me that some people might like to have these around for kids that visit, but not have them be so loud on their fridge if they're displaying them. So I thought I'd make them something that might blend in with someone's home decor a little bit better. So I'll take the letters, and I've got offcuts of scrapbooking paper. I've got a variety of these, I'll just show you a few. And I'm going to glue these to the face of the letters just using some PVA glue. So I'll just paste that on, putting a generous amount on. Press my letters down onto the back of the paper, leaving that pattern on the top, and I'll press that down and allow those to dry. Once they're dry, I'm going to take a small pair of scissors and just cut the excess paper off as close to the edge of those letters as I can get. Next, I'm taking an old emery board that you file your nails with, and I'll just sand the edges until they're nice and crisp and sharp. I'm using a downward motion, moving away from the paper so that I don't lift any of it while I'm sanding. Now I've got to try and get into those awkward little holes inside the letters, so I've just cut a strip of sandpaper and I'm going to run that through my fingers and get all those edges that are hard to get to. Once I'm happy with how they're looking, I'm taking some more PVA glue and I'm going to paste all over the top of the letters and down the sides to really make sure that that paper won't lift. Then I went ahead and completed the rest off camera. Now I'll take some antiquing wax and I'm just going to apply it around those raw wood edges. This is a folk art product, and wherever I've applied too much to the face of my letters, I'm just going to remove a little back with a wet wipe. I apply this with a little sponge that I've cut off a pot scourer. Then I can push it into the middle of those holes and get some on the inside of the letters as well. Now they're looking a bit old and a bit vintage, which is what I was going for. So with the box, I'm going to paint this in a chalk paint, and I've got my homemade chalk paint in the colour Fran Green. And I'll apply that to the inside surfaces of the box. On the outside of the box, I want to use a different colour. So I've got another homemade chalk paint in the colour Mary Rose. And I'll paint the bottom, covering the label. I tried to start lifting that and I could see it was going to make a mess of things, so I've just left it there. I'll paint all the sides and the top edge. I'll be leaving the slot where the lid slides in unpainted so that it doesn't get stuck going in. Then when it was dry, I went in with a second coat of both colours. It's looking great now that it's dry, and I want to make this look really upcycled, this old box. So I'm pulling out my small transfers, and some of them are intact, but there's lots of bits and pieces in these that I'm not going to use for any larger projects. So I'm going to cut off all of the black and white stuff. It doesn't have to match or have a theme. I'm just going to do somewhat of a collage. And with these transfers, you just peel the backing off, lay it down on your project, and rub your image on with the stick that they provide when you buy these transfers. I got these ones from Temu. So you peel back the clear film and you can use that to burnish or rub the image on completely. As you're peeling your film back, if you find that the image hasn't transferred properly, just lay it back down and rub again. So I'm just applying these at random with no rhyme or reason all over the sides of the box, just to give it this look. Next I'm just going to add some age again with some more antiquing wax. And I'm not using very much at all. I'll put some on a sponge and I'll be doing the outside edges of the box. I'll use the clean side of my sponge here and there just to help to blend that colour into the edges. The effect is very subtle, but it does give this a more aged and authentic look. On the inside of the box, I won't be able to get into those sharp corners with the sponge, so I'll take a little paintbrush and I'm just going to blend that colour around all of the inner edges. I can tone it back even more in places with the clean side of my sponge. Now I need to seal my chalk paint, so I have a Feast & Watson clear wax. I apply this using an old shaving brush, and I take a bit of the product and just ensure that I have gotten into all of the corners and covered every painted surface with the clear wax. I'll leave that to soak in for 10 or 15 minutes, and then I came back with some paper towel and removed any excess wax. So right before I put my letters into the box, I discovered that I was missing a C from my lowercase letters. It had both capitals and lowercase, so I can only use my capitals, but it does make it look like a full pack. I'm sure I'll find a use for the other letters. I'll show you these all completed at the end of the video. For project number 2, I want to make some craft packs up for those that get inspired at the Upcycled Market. So I've got some plastic bags, and I'm going to put a piece of blotting cardboard in there, and then this is a piece of coffee dyed wallpaper that's embossed. I want everything I put in the pack hopefully to be visible. I've got a napkin and I've folded that in a diagonal. I'll flip the pack over and add some gold metallic paper. And next I need something a little bit bigger so they can use it for bigger projects. This is some wrapping paper. It's almost like rice paper or heavy tissue. It's great for decoupaging. I have a small piece of map. I'm making sure that the colours that I use in this pack all complement each other. This way the buyer can avoid buying expensive and individual packs of craft materials when they just want to make a smaller project. I have music paper which I've antiqued around the edges and put a transfer on. I've got 2 small paper doilies and one of them's coffee stained. Now I'll add some smaller bits of paper, just a coffee stained one, And then I've got some ephemera. And then I've got some smaller ones as well. I'll throw in a couple of little vintage pictures that I've cut out of magazines. This one's Rita Hayworth, so I've written her name on the back so that people know who's in the photograph. I'll add in a little stamp. I have a book of stamps that I cut these out of. I'll add a couple of cute little feathers. I've made a little gift tag on some cardboard with some music paper and put a ribbon on it. I'll add a little vellum gold flower. And of course, every craft pack needs a bit of twine. I'll put a length of twine, some pink ribbon and a little bit of lace together, and I'll tie that off in a bow. And last but not least, I'll put a little crystal gem in there. I get these off Broken Jewellery. Now I think my little pack looks beautiful. I think there's enough in there for when people get inspired by our Upcycled Market that they might want to go home and make something themselves. I'll just seal the top off. And I made up 8 of these, and I've done them all in slightly different colour tones. So hopefully there'll be enough variety there that people might find one that they prefer. So I'd love to know what you think of these in the comments. Would you be inspired by them? I need to find a way to display them, so I've got this little square box. They're going to fit in there really nicely. I'll just quickly remove all that extra tape off it. And I'm going to cut down the top of the box. So I've marked that with a ruler, and I'm going to use double-sided tape to fold back those flaps and reinforce them, just sticking them down with that double-sided tape. Then I want to line the inside with some music paper, and I think I got this book for 50 cents at a thrift store. I'll use some PVA glue on the inside of the box and spread that out evenly and decoupage that on. I use music paper all the time in my crafting, and I'll end up using that whole book. I think it's about the 3rd one I've purchased. I'm using the plastic spatula that came from my transfers. It's a really handy tool for this. Now that it's lined, I'll use some more double-sided tape and a bit of glue to glue the bottom down nice and securely. I'll decoupage some of that beautiful wrapping paper to the outside of the box, and because there's some music paper and some of the wrapping paper in each of those packs, it'll be a nice nod to what's inside them. I just clip my corners, make the fold over at the top about the same all the way around, and just overlap them as I decoupage those pieces in. There we go, I've got a little display box. Now that it's dry, I can put my packs of craft materials in there, and people will be able to flip through them and see which ones they want. I'll find out how they sell at market and probably do a video of the market. For project number 3, I've got this little crock. It only cost me $1 from the school gala that I attended. And I have a set of transfers that were designed for crocks and vases. Some of them are too big, so I'm just going through them and finding the right size one. And the one at the top there looks short enough to fit on this crock. It says Paris Flower Market on it, which is going to be appropriate for what I do to this crock next. So I'll cut it out, peel it off the backing, make sure I've got it centered correctly onto my crock. And it's curved at the top a bit, but I'll show you how I work around that curve. I'll start rubbing my transfer on. And I'm being really careful around that delicate print in the middle so that I don't miss any of it. Sometimes that can lift off with the clear film when you remove it. Then I'm just cutting slots in the top so that as it curves around the top of the crock, it can overlay each other and you won't notice it at all. And if the clear film's in the way, just trim it off as you go. And there you go, that transferred perfectly, and I'm just using the film to burnish that on and make sure it's really set down on the surface. Then I'm going to use some clear wax just over the transfer itself to make sure that it is sealed. Alright, now I can just remove the excess with a paper towel and move on to the next step. I have some fairly heavy white tissue paper, so I'll take some of that and I'm going to scrunch it up and fill some of the void at the bottom of the pot. Then I have a little piece of floral foam that I got from a thrifted bunch of faux flowers, and I've also got some of the little lavender flowers from that bunch. I've got really short stems, so they're perfect for this little project. So I'm just going to mix up those two colours of lavender. Now I'll add in the little grey-green leaves and fill up some of the space around the bottom. And I have all this lichen out on my driveway that's nice and dry. I'm going to take some of that and I'm just going to cover the rest of the floral foam that's visible with hot glue and a little bit of this. This will hold the floral foam in place and stop anything from falling out of the little pot. It'll also be able to be removed easily that way. Well, I think that's going to look absolutely gorgeous on my craft table. Now I can show you my finished projects. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you here next week. I'll leave you with some pictures of the beautiful chandelier we had at my work do. My work colleague Blake made this, and it's made from flax flowers, fairy lights and a push bike wheel. Isn't that clever?